Hey friends, Peggy Hall back with you to add some positive encouragement to your life. Have you ever had one of those aha moments in your life that was so life changing, that was so earth shattering, something that literally changed your outlook and as a result changed your life? That's what I want to share with you today. I've had a lot of lessons in my many years. And this is something that I came to quite late in life. And it happened after my mom passed away. Now, some of you may know that I am no stranger to grief. In fact, I'm something of a grief expert. And along those lines, I would like to help support you if you are struggling, if you are suffering. I do want to let you know that there is life after loss. It may not be the life that you wish, but it is something that you can do, and I would love to support you. So stay tuned until the end of the video, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. My dad had passed away several years before my mom did, and I had also lost a brother and a sister, several aunts and uncles. I actually have lost some cousins, and you probably are like me and have had these challenges and losses in your life. But one thing that I realized, and I'm not sure why it was after my mom passed away, other than I was on a very emotionally charged journey and everything seemed like it was on high alert. And for most of my life, I have actually struggled with perfectionism. I have always wanted to be the best, to do the best, to achieve more, to contribute more, to learn more, to experience more, and I just wanted more. And in this endeavor, I would really berate myself if I didn't live up to my own standards. And I did so in a very negative way. It was almost like having a coach that was coaching me in a harmful, really abusive manner. You may have actually had a coach, maybe a teacher, maybe a coworker, a boss that was very abusive in the way that they were speaking to you. And maybe they thought that they were trying to improve your outcome or your productivity or your behavior, and they were doing it in such a way that it was so negative that they were tearing you down. You may have had parents that way. And the problem is that I was doing that to myself. Rather than giving myself positive encouragement, I was giving myself criticism. Now, I will say that, probably many of us have had figures in our life that were critical, that were controlling, demanding, domineering. I've done many videos on this channel about dealing with difficult people, and I certainly have had enough of those in my life. But why would I be a difficult person to myself? And that was the epiphany that I had. And it was very simple. And it was this: self-criticism hasn't worked that well. So why don't I try self-encouragement? Instead of beating myself up and tearing myself down and criticizing myself for areas where I fall short, why don't I encourage myself instead? Why don't I give myself those own encouraging words that I wish that I would hear from others? And this is another part of the epiphany. So many of us, including myself, I put myself into that people pleasing category, although I have broken free from that. I'd say maybe for the last 10 to 12 years, I have not struggled with that like I have in the past. And I've also talked about people pleasing on this channel before, where when we're children, it's a skill that a lot of us develop because we need to get the approval of adults really for our survival. So now that we're no longer adults, I'm sorry, now that we're no longer children and we are adults, we no longer have to act like children and do that people pleasing behavior. Not all children do it, but I'm just explaining that some children will fall into that pattern of changing themselves in order to get the approval and love and appreciation and validation and encouragement from adults. But we don't need to do that once we are adults and we are self-sufficient. So that kind of goes hand in hand with the criticism, where we are trying to get the approval, the appreciation, the validation, the applause from others. And the fact is this: we will never get that approval and validation and appreciation from others. In my experience, we will never get it at the level that we really are seeking it, because no one other than ourselves really knows what we need and what we want to hear and how that can help encourage and support us. So the epiphany that I had is that not only does the self-criticism not work, wait, hang on. You may be saying right now, Peggy, it does work. I'm always beating myself up. And that's how I'm able to get things done. When I call myself on the carpet and when I fall short of my goals, I give myself some tough talking to, some tough love, and that's how I'm able to move forward. Well, my question to you is, have you actually flipped the script and have you tried positive encouragement? Have you actually given yourself those words of support in a loving way that is not a critical, demeaning way that you may have inherited from a family member or a coworker, a teacher, society in general? So I encourage you to try the self-encouragement rather than the self-criticism. And in a moment, we'll look exactly at what that might look like. The other part of the epiphany was this: rather than be a people pleaser and try to get the approval, the appreciation, the validation, the acknowledgement from others, it's like an empty task, because no one can ever give me those exact words that I am looking for. I'm the only one that can do it. So it actually works even better. It's more efficient, it's more effective, it's more productive when you yourself are the source of the encouragement that you are trying to get from others. So what does that look like? Well, you know me, I am a great fan of having a pen and a journal, a notebook, and I love to think on paper. So number one step is awareness. What are some of these phrases that you're saying to yourself? What are the thoughts that you're having? What are the feelings that you're having in your body? What are the emotions that you're having that go along with your thoughts related to something? Let's say that you've set a goal to save money or to start exercising or to eat better or to get a better night's sleep or to cut down on the amount of time you're spending on social media. You can come up with the idea of your own. And then let's have the example of a day where you're falling short in this new behavior that you would love to, develop. And you may have phrases such as, there you go again. Or maybe you're not even aware of the phrases, but it's a feeling of being let down, of disappointing your own self. But in the back of your mind, there probably are thoughts that are going on, such as, I knew you couldn't do it. You don't have what it takes. There you go again. Can't stick with anything, can you? You may have other phrases, and I want you to become aware of them. That's the first step. So that takes paying attention, simple awareness, not sleepwalking through life, but actually noticing what it is you're doing and why you're doing it, what it is you're thinking and why you're thinking that, and what it is you're feeling and why you're feeling that. And you can uncover that by asking questions. What am I thinking? What am I feeling while I'm doing this activity that I didn't want to do? Or what am I feeling when I'm not doing the thing that I wanted to do, like get to bed earlier or go exercise or reconnect with some loved ones? So being aware of your behavior, of your thoughts, and your feelings is number one. I spent most of my life not really being fully aware, although I have journaled most of my life, and that really has given me an insight into my feelings, my goals, my dreams, my disappointments. But going a little bit to a deeper level, and what am I thinking that is causing these actions? What am I feeling that's connected to those thoughts that is resulting in either these actions or the inactions? And are those thoughts encouraging or are they critical? And that's where the floodgates kind of opened for me when I realized I was really beating myself up. I was trying to become stricter. I was trying to have more self-discipline rather than more self-awareness. I think that needs to be a topic for an upcoming video, because that was a change that I made in my life, which was less self-discipline, more self-awareness. And they really go hand in hand. And it can help you develop discipline without white knuckling it, without fighting against yourself. So I started with more encouraging words and phrases. I started being that best friend. I started giving myself those phrases, the validation, the encouragement that I was hoping to get from others. And I think it was something that happened to me after my mom passed away, because I was seeking the validation and support and encouragement and appreciation and approval and love from my mom. I think it is normal. We seek that from those we love because we want them to be approving and accepting and appreciative and accommodating and all of those things. And once my mom was gone, it's like, okay, it's all on me now. And I don't want to, let me put it in a positive way. I want to encourage myself in a positive manner. I think those go together, encouragement and positivity, rather than tear myself down in a critical, negative way. I felt a weight released from my shoulders. And I remember exactly where I was when this happened. I was in my community, I was on a walk, and I was reaching to open the gate, and it just hit me like, has that ever happened to you? Just something literally out of the blue. I believe it was the Holy Spirit. You know, another name for that is the Holy Breath, because spirit means to inspire, to be filled with God's breath. And I do believe that God was trying to get through to me all these years. And I finally had a moment where I was open to that instruction, is the only way I can put it. And it was a relief for me. Number one, knowing that I did not have to rely on others for their approval, appreciation, validation, or encouragement. My husband is an incredibly encouraging, supportive, appreciative, loving spouse. I couldn't ask for anything better. But when it comes from your own self in a way that you need to hear it, like you've got your own back, you are supporting you. It's extremely powerful. And I would love for you to let me know if you have had an epiphany along those lines or a different epiphany that was life-changing for you. The other reason why this was so liberating for me is I was able to let go of the constant self-criticism. It didn't work for me. Well, let me say that it worked at great expense, at my own expense, at feeling pressure, at feeling put upon, rather than it was almost like I was pushing myself rather than putting out a hand and pulling myself up. That's the best image that I can give. So that's what I wanted to share with you. It's been on my mind and heart because it was such a life-changing epiphany for me. Instead of self-criticism, self-encouragement. Now, I will say this is what I would call a practice, meaning I practice it. I'm not 100% perfect. I do have those critical thoughts that creep in because, hey, I am just human. And I think our minds are wired to look for danger and negativity so that we can kind of protect ourselves. But I realized that was actually hindering me and it was preventing me from living fully and freely. And that is my hope and prayer for you. Thank you so much for being a part of this supportive community. I really appreciate you being on board. And let me know in a comment if you would like to get my support as you are navigating life after loss. We are looking at doing an in-person workshop, actually, where we can share hugs and shed tears and support each other in a confidential, private environment. I know that there are some that it's difficult to travel and you are asking for something online. So best would be to leave a comment and let me know what you're looking for because I want to support you. And thank you for supporting me. I look forward to seeing you at all of our get-togethers and I appreciate having you on board.